And that's when you can choose to even change a church. You can even choose to go where your parents don't go. You can even choose to go where they refuse you to go. That's how some of us would end up go to bars, we would end up go to clubs. It's because of that peer pressure, because of people around us. So it's I'll say it is power of influence and associations, as in people you surround yourself with. And as the Bible says, bad company corrupts good character. And when you walk with the wise, you become wise. True. So if you're surrounded by 5 robbers, I think you miscounted. True. Those are 6 robbers, including you.
That is very true.
Yeah, so that's the power of influence and associations. But what if you join people, you surround with your friends who are readers? If they read. For books, I follow 4 categories. It's called real.
Wow.
So real is relationship books.
Wow. Come on.
E is for equipping books.
Wow.
That's finance books, stuff like that. And then the E is for attitudes.
Wow.
Like how people behave. And the L is for leadership books.
Wow.
I'm a leadership enthusiast, and
wow.
those books, they appeal to me.
Wow, that's real. I mean, that is my first time hearing that, man. Hello. Welcome back to Christ Represented Podcast. I'm your host, Mukristu. Remember, we represent Christ in everything that we are doing. All right. Hello there. Welcome back to Christ Represented Podcast. I am your host, Mukristu. I want to thank you so very much for the support that you've really been showing us. You've really been there since day one. And now we are counting how many episodes now. And if it wasn't for your support, your encouraging messages, your testimonies of how our podcast is helping you, we wouldn't have really been where we are today. I want to begin by thanking you so very much for that support and that love that you are showing us. Thank you so much for being part of our community. And again, this is another episode, and I would like to ask you to share this podcast with someone. It is really good to be blessed. It's really good to be part of us. But again, I know that you have a friend. I know that you have someone who might need this. And we talk about life. We share life. And today, it is a very special day because I have a friend, I have a brother, and we've really been friends for 3 years now, and but it's really a blessing to have someone in your life that knows almost everything about you, that you are not really putting, some barriers, some limitations to this person, because their genuinity, because of their openness, and because of their availability in your life, and because of who they are. And today I said, bro, how about you come and we talk to our people, to our audience, and we share something which is going to be a little bit different, because we've been talking about our stories, sharing about our stories, but today it is going to be a little bit different. It is also part of our Christian walk. It is part of our growth. And today we are going to talk about accountability, or being part of a community. And of course, that is a biblical principle. You have to be part of a community that is going to foster, that is going to accelerate your Christian growth. And today I have my brother Romeo. So good to have you, man. How have you been?
I've been well. I'm grateful, and thank you for having me.
Man, I am very, very hyped to have you over. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation, man.
Pleasure.
Yeah, so what is interesting is we've really been friends, and it's not really easy for men to open up to the level that we've opened up. Also building this accountability partnership that we are building, but it's really been there for for some time now. So welcome. We are going to talk we are going to disclose some of what we do, in the background. But I think it is going to be educative and also helping someone who's there. And, it is, accountability is very biblical, but when it comes to our Rwandan context, it is really hard, just opening up and letting someone have some access into your life. Sometimes it's really hard in the context of Rwandans, but it is very needed, and it is what the Bible commands us to do. And that's what we are going to be talking about. But before we dive deeper, so how was your week? We are coming to the end of this week. How was your week? If you had few words to describe how your week was, what would that be?
I'll say in one word, my week was fulfilling. I'm that kind of guy who hates procrastinating.
Wow.
So if you ask me what's my best day, I would say my best day is the day I don't procrastinate anything.
I know.
So literally I can have my best day every day.
I'm telling you, there is something that every new week you post in our WhatsApp group. You say, thank God it's Monday. You love Mondays.
Yes, I do.
It's really been your consistency every week. At the beginning, you just send us a message, thank God it is Monday. And most people are very, scared, waking up in the morning and it is Monday, and they are counting days, and they're going to be up and down there chasing something, and they'll be like, woo, will this week come to an end? But for you love Mondays, and for sure I know that you are very consistent, and I've really learned that from you. So sometimes someone does something and then you feel like, oh, maybe this is for a short while, but for you've really been consistent, and man, that really challenges me. So how do you do it, brother?
Thank you. Mostly you said many people, they don't like Mondays, but it's a personal thing. I know people who have their Mondays as day offs.
Wow.
So there's no way they can hate Mondays. And mostly people who hate Mondays, I think it's a personal thing. I think they don't like their jobs. But it's a personal, again, I don't know. But me, I love Mondays because it sets the pace of the week.
Wow.
It sets the pace of the week. And when I read the book by Hassan Chibirang called The Gift of Monday, I loved Monday more.
Wow.
And every Monday it's a day for me. It's a pace setter.
Wow.
Basically. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
I mean, yeah. Reading that book has really also blessed me and, set a pace. And I think 2022, I started loving my Mondays because, as you're saying, they set a pace of how you're going to go about your week. And you've really, really been consistent about that. And that really, I see the excitement in the text. I see readiness. I see, the courage in that text, because you'd be like, okay, now the way I go about this day is going to contribute to how much I'm going to spend my weekend. That has really been, a reminder, because every Monday you just text that and then say, hey, gentlemen, it is Monday. Thank God it is Monday. And of course, when we say thank God it's Friday, there is no difference. Yeah, there is no difference, because now we know that Mondays are a gift, that we have. So another question, are you a movie guy or books?
Books.
Why?
I chose books because I believe all of us as humans, we are just walking books.
Wow.
And even when you read a book, it's like you've spent that time with that person.
Yeah.
So if it's a person you look up to, if it's a person you admire, definitely you will feel like you know a bit of him, yet the person doesn't even know you exist. So I love that. For movies, I can watch movies, but I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
Especially series, I don't like.
Wow.
Because they are time-taking.
This is my guy.
And I don't like the suspense.
Wow.
Yeah, because series, they can really... You can get into it and then you can't just wait for what's next.
Yeah.
that suspense, no, it kills me.
Yeah.
It kills me.
I'm telling
But I can
you.
watch a movie. Yeah, I love action movies. Horror movies, that's a no-go for me.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
yeah, I just love action movies. Yeah, Christian movies. Yeah, I can watch them. It's
Yeah.
not like it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I prefer books over movies.
Fiction or non-fiction?
A bit of both. It depends. If the actor is someone I probably like, I can choose to watch that because of an actor or an actress.
Wow. So I mean the books. Like, when was the last time you read a fiction book?
No, I don't. For books, I thought you'd talk about movies.
No,
but,
it was for books.
For books, I have I follow four categories. It's called real.
Wow.
So real is relationship books.
Wow. Come on.
E is for equipping books.
Wow.
That's finance books, stuff like that. And then the E is for attitudes.
Wow.
Like how people behave. And the L is for leadership books.
Wow.
I'm a leadership enthusiast, and
wow.
those books, they appeal to me.
Wow, that's real. I mean, that is, hey, my first time hearing that, man. Wow.
First time for everything.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah. So I love books. I really, really love books. And so what is your favorite book so far?
So far, I would say my current read. My current read is a book by Dr. Miles Monroe. Yeah, it says the responsibility of a man.
Wow.
And it's basically how to find manhood and how to define men. And this book is basically for men and for women who love those men.
Wow. Come on.
So it's not gender based.
that is so profound. That is so profound for sure. The responsibilities of a man.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So wow. I think last time I shared my favorite book because I keep reading it every year. It is called Disciplines of a Godly Man. And that book has really blessed me so much because it again talks about the responsibilities of a man. And I really keep reading it, going back to it every year because it is very practical. And it has been now 5 years. I started reading it back in 2020 during COVID, and I opened it. I was like, yeah, Disciplines of a Godly Man, but it has really, really built me. It has contributed a lot to me as a man, and also how I have to treat everyone around me, and how, it talks about attitude. It talks about forgiveness, forgiving yourself, and, it talks about, the discipline of mind. How should a man think, and how should they take care of their minds, so it is really an amazing book. And talking about that, man, we need to understand and redefine true manhood, but biblically. And I think Miles Monroe has, something for men. And yeah, that really, I mean, after finishing it, let me have it and read it as well. So driving or walking?
Depends. It depends. I do three things. I read for my mind, and I pray for my spirit, and I run for my body.
Come on.
Just to stay fit in all angles.
Please.
Visible and invisible angles.
Wow.
About walking and driving, I prefer driving.
Wow.
Because you can do a longer distance without being tired, and you can multitask as you drive, and you take advantage of the man-made stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said three things.
I read for my mind, and I pray for my spirit.
Wow.
And then I run for my body.
So those are powerful nuggets, my brother. Wow, so profound. Yeah.
So I run in the morning, like Monday I go for a run, and Friday mornings.
Wow.
Monday and Friday mornings I go for a run.
Wow. Man.
That's first thing in the morning. 4:30 I'll be on the road. I pass by iSmart.
I know.
iSmartHouse. I pass here every day, so it's
wow, man. It really seems like you've really built a discipline around your life, and someone can really tell that you are a disciplined guy, and for us who have really been around you for some good time now, can tell you've not been changing, and today you're here, tomorrow you're there. You've been consistent but growing at the same time. So thank you so very much. Those are really key contributors to our growth. Sometimes we don't build those foundations, but they are very key to our growth. And of course, as you're saying, to some of us keep failing here and there, but honestly we learn a lot from you, brother. So cooking or eating out?
That's personal. But I love home food. Personally, I don't like cooking, but I can cook.
Wow.
Reason being, the people I stay with, they can cook better than me.
Wow.
So I prefer them cooking, and then I do the eating.
Wow. How about that? That is really, really, really good. Yeah. So thank you so very much. Those were, questions to spice this up. So as we said today, we are going to talk about community, and we've really been, holding each other accountable for some quite long now, and it started holding each other about our Bible reading, and sharing the summaries of the books that we have finished, and it has really been a good contribution. And my question about that is, why community, most especially in the Christian perspective?
In the Christian perspective, community, basically, I would say a community is where you gather and you meet with people, commune with people, fellow people who you share the same goal or the same mission. So communities, sometimes it can be school community.
Yeah.
Can be also a Christian school if you are lucky to go to a school like that.
Yeah.
And then in the Christian context, it can be a church community. So the church community, you need it because the church, you understand the church, it's biblically, we are all walking churches.
Yeah.
We are churches because we are the temples of the Holy Spirit.
That's
but
right.
growing up, I used to think a church was a building.
A building, yeah.
But as I grow, I've come to realize that a church is we as individuals, and even when we are gathered, we remain a church. And we need to submit to the head of the church, which is Christ. And the church community, you need it because that's what will help you grow spiritually, because we all grow automatically by aging. But that is aging. Aging is mandatory. It happens. It's automatic. But growing is a choice.
Wow, come on.
You can age without growing.
Come on.
It's possible. Because so how are you growing? You might grow, yes, in terms of age, which is automatic, and growing spiritually. That's where you need the church community. And then you can grow economically. That's you taking those courses, getting those degrees, because you're growing as mentally. You're growing because that's what the market needs. The market needs you to fill a void. So you can't fill that void when you are blank or empty. So you need to grow in all perspectives. And in the church community, you grow spiritually, and you get to meet yourself, and then you get to meet people who you have the same belief. And the beauty of it is the same frequency, the frequency of communication. Maybe I give an example. If you are, let's say we are both ambassadors, and we meet, you from a country A, I'm from country B. When we meet, the conversation will flow the same. So even the Christian context, a believer from church A and a believer from church B, they should be able to communicate the frequency. So that's the beauty about it. And in the Christian context, it's always out of love. Because the number one virtue is love. Love for God, our creator, and love for one another, which is a call for all of us. It's a calling for all of us. And so you can't, it is for you to love someone, you need to be able to love yourself. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. So first you love yourself, and then you learn to love others. Yeah, so it's an ongoing journey.
Wow.
Yes.
So you shared something about making a choice of growing spiritually, and why isn't it automatic? Why should I be intentional about my Christian growth? Someone can be there, say, there is no need. I just have to attend church. But being intentional about growth, some people think like it's gonna be automatic, but why has it to be intentional?
Yeah, maybe this will take us to where it all starts from. To families, the families where we come from. We all come from. Everyone comes from a family.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good family, bad family, but we all come from families.
Yeah.
And what I've come to realize is that most of us, we don't know God. And we just know religions, their rituals, protocols, and the programs. And only to realize we end up joining the religion where our parents have taken us.
True.
And few of us are bold enough and courageous enough to ask our parents why they chose that religion. We just follow and ride along with them to that church. If your father is a Catholic, you say you're Catholic. Automatically, that's your religion. And then to my perspective, I was born and raised Catholic, in a Catholic context. And when I was done with university, I had stopped going to church. And then that's when I realized I need to find a church. I need to find a church to belong to. I just wanted to... I felt like there's power beyond what we see. There is a reason why there is day, there is night, the sun rises and it sets. So I was like, there's power behind this. And I was blank. I didn't know how all that operates. And that's when I joined the church. And that was 2022, January. That's when I joined the church. And that's the first time I opened the Bible myself. To read. And that's the first time I bought myself a Bible. So I was that intentional because I when I commit. It's and the commitment usually is followed closely by consistency. And that was my prayer. My prayer was consistent. See at church. So that's why that was the commitment. It's the commitment that just drove me. And then when I entered the church, I stuck there until today. Haven't gone to another church. So since then I've been there for now 4 years. It's coming to 4 years.
Wow, that is really amazing. And you are sharing really, really key points: commitment, intentionality, making a choice of being part of a church. And sometimes we don't understand its importance of committing and also being consistent about the church, the local church. Coming back to what you said earlier, you said that we are the churches, that our bodies are the temples of the Holy Spirit, but we also have to be part of a local church, and that is a community of believers. And you share the same master, the same king, but your focus is just to glorify him and also to imitate him and to grow through him. And but there is something that really, so it even gets personal. Like there has to be, someone, or there have to be people in your life that are holding you accountable, that, that intentionality part of it, where people are holding you accountable, like how we started. We started by, have you read your Bible? How far with your Bible? And, when the consistent part of it is included, it really makes it easier. You can really just stress that growth because someone has really been consistent. Like you've been, every after finishing a book, you just share a summary, and that really, brings us to a conclusion that this is needed, because you know that there is someone who's there to to ask you questions. Why you haven't maybe submitted in? Have you been reading? Have you been doing this and that? And it kept growing to even other aspects of life. And but that has really been a failure to most believers, because as I said earlier, in our context as Rwandans, opening up sometimes, or allowing someone, giving access to someone else, sometimes it's so hard. We have trust issues. Sometimes we have trust issues, and we have brought that in church, and we'll be like, you never know, if you just, how, and of course with our human nature, sometimes wanting to, to be reserved, and also keeping our stuff to ourselves. But the moment you allow yourself to open up and allow someone into your life, it really makes a difference, and it really brings, your life to the right path, and you have people around you. And I remember this year I'm making 10 years in this walk, and it has really been up and up and up. And because I always had community around me, I have never felt, it heavier on my shoulders, because I always had people who are there to pray for me, who are there to lift me up when I am weak, who are there not to judge me, but I go. If I am to cry, I just go and cry. If I am rejoicing, they're just there to rejoice with me. And when I am in the weakest moments, season, they're not just there to, to discourage me, to judge me. And the other time you are fasting, now see what you are doing, but they're just there to encourage you. And this is an awakening call to our fellow believers to be part of a community. It might be, 2 people around you. It might be, 5 people around you who are holding you accountable. And it has really, been a blessing. And thank you so much for being there, man. Thank you so much for sometimes asking questions, and sometimes, because we men, we have an ego. Sometimes you'll be like, hey man, but this, it is getting too much. But honestly, because it is a commitment, and it is something that someone has, made a decision to do, it has really been, making everything easier. And it is something to be grateful about. So what happens if someone is not part of a growing community?
It's sometimes it's you see, it's a man is not an island. You know the saying. A man is not an island. So, and a man always has this need for belonging.
Come on.
So the need for belonging. Let's say if you come from a good family where you belong, as you grow from 0 to 6 years of age, you are learning basic skills at home. And 6 to 12 years of age, you are learning manners, how to behave in social settings when you're outside the house, how you do. And the moment you're from 13 to 18, that's when you start withdrawing from your parents, because you have gained another community elsewhere. The community is bigger than the home you live in. That is likely a school community, friends around you. You're a teenager, you have fellow teenagers around. You start visiting friends like that. And then from 18 and above, it takes God's grace. Because you make decisions on your own. And that's when you can choose to even change a church. You can even choose to go where your parents don't go. You can even choose to go where they refuse you to go. That's how some of us would end up go to bars, we would end up go to clubs. It's because of that peer pressure, because of people around us. So it's, I'll say it is power of influence and associations, as in people you surround yourself with. And as the Bible says, bad company corrupts good character. And when you walk with the wise, you become wise.
True.
So if you're surrounded by 5 robbers, I think you miscounted. True. Those are 6 robbers, including you.
That is very true.
So that's the power of influence and associations. But what if you You join people, you surround with your friends who are readers.
Yeah.
If they read, guess what? You might even read more than them eventually. Yeah, so we all long for belonging as not just as men, even ladies, but in the biblical context, man stands for both.
Yeah.
Because there's a spirit man which is in all of us.
True.
The spirit man is in ladies and it is in men as well.
That is very true.
And then there is a woman was called by a man. It's a man who said you're a woman. God only called man. Yeah, so that's the difference. And we all long for belonging. And the moment you've gotten your where to belong, when it is self-driven, when it is not peer pressure, you're not going there because it's your friend who's going there.
You've made that choice that I have to belong.
You've made a choice. You have to make a choice. I would say it starts with intentionality. And once you're intentional, you are able to commit. And once you commit, you're able to start. And with commitment, you need consistency. With consistency, you can finish anything you've started. Because you literally, day in, day out. So that's what I would say.
That is really is very true. And I am thinking, and I want to ask you this. Let's say at the beginning of that journey with people around you, at the beginning it is really, blooming, it is so amazing, and you start committing. When is the right time to withdraw? What do you do when, what happens for you to, start questioning and be like, I should stop this. Like, what can happen so that you may withdraw from that?
It's I would say it's a journey to first of all to meet yourself. The moment you've met yourself, you can tell someone who embodies the values you would like to embody yourself, and then you're drawn to that person. And before you know it, you might find that what you thought is not what you finding. Because a lot of things are good from far, but they are far from good.
Romeo.
So
it
takes some time. But when it comes to habits, because usually when we try to do that, we are trying to build a habit. So I believe it's a 21-90 rule. That is 21. If you can do something for 21 days, it can easily become a habit. And a habit has to replace another habit.
True.
You can't have both of them. And when you can do that same thing for 90 days, it becomes a lifestyle. So it is you no longer need effort or motivation to actually do it. So it's natural. It becomes natural to you. And the withdrawal part, it's you just get to know, because it's when you know what you don't want, which is a shorter list from the list of what you want. Because what you want it's a list that is endless. Every day you add on a thing. But the list of what you don't want, it's usually 2 or 3 things maximum. Sometimes it's even one thing that you can't stand. And usually that draws a line. And it helps you. It works in your favor when you know what you don't want. And then you can see, if you see what you don't want in someone, you already know. You can tell. And that's where discernment works. That's where discernment comes in, where you can tell a person even before you speak to them. You know whether it's a right person to talk to, or whether it's just a no-go. So depending on how you've met yourself. Because we all sit in board meetings, but we don't know.
I know.
We sit in board meetings and where you put a seat in front of you, and that's a meeting of me, myself, and I. That's a board meeting we all have every day before we leave our houses. And what are the minutes of the meeting? So once you know that, you are easily you are not easily dragged or driven by external factors. And external factors can be people. It can be circumstances, it can be situations. So basically it takes you to know yourself, and then you can easily know what works and what doesn't work for you.
True.
Period.
And that would actually help you know even the people to surround yourself with. And I mean, yeah, when someone really, really has some access into your life, for sure, they really contribute a lot to your growth. And it has to be, intentional. You have to take some time for you to decide, should I allow this person into my life? Should I allow this person in my life? And you really have to, to be curious to know who they are, and before you make, a commitment, because now you are going to embark on a journey where these people are going to be involved, asking questions, and sometimes, when they're not the right people, it is going to ruin a lot in your life, and it is going to cause the disappointment at the end of the day. So we need to be curious and also prayerful. As you said, discernment comes in. The Spirit is there to lead you, is there to help you know the kind of people that you have to surround yourself with. And it has really been, it has really been an encouraging one, an amazing journey. As I said, this life is hard, but when you know the secret that is in the community, it really makes everything easier for you, because you know that there is a brother there who is going to cry with you, a brother who is going to chill you up, a brother who's going to be there, for you whenever you need them to be around you. And there is no one who really don't deserve this. For me, before I got saved, I had my people, my gang, man, these guys who are always there, bro, coming to your place, they are staying, like, they are involved into your life. I mean, like, you are doing wrong things, you are drinking, you are smoking, and you are just there, but man, the commitment, the level of commitment, you are spending nights together, they're there, they're ever there for you, and you can't really feel lonely. And I am not saying we copy and paste that, but even outside there, people live in communities, and you can really tell that, there is a brother whom we spent, the last night in a bar, and the following morning, like, we are together, they have come to my place. And so it has always been there. But when you come into the Christian community, sometimes you'll be like, but we need community. We need community. But as we kept saying, it has to be intentional, and knowing exactly that, yes, outside there I had this community, but now this community is leading me somewhere. I'm heading somewhere. I'm focused somewhere, which is actually becoming more like Christ. And going back to biblical times, it is Christ also was in the community. He had, different communities. He had the 3, the 12, 70, and 5, 5,000. And always, every single day, he was with these guys, his disciples. And we can actually, learn from his model, because he modeled it, and we can follow him. And we can do it because he was part of that community. And of course, what he was sharing with the 5,000, it is not what he was sharing with the 70, and what he shared with the 70, it is not what he was sharing with the 12, and what he shared with the 12, it is not what he shared with the 3, and then the 1, John. So we need people in our lives, and of course there are levels. There are those who are like John, who are always here, closer, and they're just there. They have access to your life, and there are 3 there. There is John, Peter, and James, who are there. They are going to be exposed to some knowledge about you, and the 12, and where you spend your life. I was reading in the Gospels, and Jesus always told his disciples, used to teach in parables, but even his disciples couldn't get what he was teaching, but he would put them aside, and they asked him a question. What did you mean when you said that? What did you mean? Jesus always told them, for you it has been given to you, to know the mysteries of the kingdom, but to them it has has been given to them by parables. So Jesus was explaining everything to them aside, because you are my community, because you are my people. So which means there is a certain level of knowledge that we need to have when we are in the community, and it is really, really a huge one. And we can't really, emphasize this more, because community is very needed. But a lot of people live in isolation. They live in loneliness. And what does loneliness do to someone who's not in the community?
Maybe I would first start by defining isolation, because we tend to confuse isolation with separation and together with solitude.
Come on.
Yes.
My brother, you are too deep. You are too deep.
So it's isolation can be you just putting yourself away because you don't interact with anyone. And for the time period which only you can define. And for solitude, it is you choosing. It is deliberate. It is deliberate for you to do it on your own, to solitude, because like for me, I'm at my best when I'm alone. That's when I'm at my best.
Wow.
So I enjoy my company.
Wow.
So isolation, it's it doesn't work in your favor. First of all, it's the cause of the isolation. What causes you to isolate yourself? You might isolate yourself because probably you feel different, which you might be, because I believe we are all different. And sometimes isolation, you might feel like you don't belong there, you don't fit in. That is after trying multiple times to fit in. And then for solitude, you choose distance. You choose distance over fitting in. So it depends. Again, everything has a cause. And you can choose solitude because you want to grow yourself. And probably you might have a goal. It's like maybe a good example would be if you're in a sports team, you might just choose to step out a bit. Then you go and you improve your skill, and then you come after like a year. You definitely come back better. If you really did what you intended to do. So it's self-driven, but isolation sometimes it's negative. It's in a negative way, and sometimes you find that you end up locking yourself in a room. That's where depression comes in. You can lock yourself in a room. Even you can isolate yourself, even when you home.
True.
You even isolate yourself from your own family, which is not a good sign. And for solitude, you might just choose to be alone. Have you ever met people who take themselves on a date? There are people who I can go for breakfast alone. Can go for lunch alone. Can go for dinner alone. But back then, I never used to think like that. I used to think like, no, I need company. I can't go alone. So that was the power of influence and association. Yes, but of late, I've learned to write solo, because I believe when you're alone, you learn a lot. You learn to talk to yourself more, even though we talk to ourselves more than we talk to others. And isolation, you might even feel isolated, yet you are in a community. You might be in a group, you're having a conversation, but you still feel lonely, yet you are with people. So that's not a good sign. Because sometimes you find that maybe you're in the wrong circle. Or maybe there's a lot you don't agree on, and then you're there. So it's personal. It is very hard to separate the two. There's a thin line between the two. But it's personal.
Wow. You kept talking about commitment, consistency, and that have to be involved in a community. So maybe there's someone outside there who's going to ask themselves, okay, where do I begin from? I've never been part of any community, an intentional one, and they're wondering where they can begin from. So what would be your advice to someone who is in that state right now?
For me, I'll say my story, because I believe stories usually personal stories, they speak louder.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, for me, when before I became a Christian, I had my routines.
This podcast is brought by iSmartHouse, your best podcast agency in Rwanda.
Remember, we represent Christ in everything that we are doing.